Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation here in Spain. And unfortunately, it's a case of here we go again. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel by buying merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your support. Now let's get into the news, and with Easter week upon us, it's a case of deja vu, or here we go again, or whatever you want to call it. As we can see here, the fourth wave of the coronavirus continues to take shape. The incidence rate has reached 149 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. Two autonomous communities here in Spain, Madrid and Navarra, are at a very high risk level, the highest on the health traffic light. And the face of COVID-19 here in Spain, Fernando Simón, warns that the number of infections is on the rise in 12 communities. Reversing it is in everyone's hands, he says. At the usual press conference to report on the pandemic situation in our country, the epidemiologist acknowledged that they are concerned about the impact of increased mobility and social gatherings during the holidays. So infections on the rise around the country, and health authorities are concerned. And again, as from the beginning, the responsibility falls on us to reverse the situation. We've all been in this situation before, and as we know, we couldn't control the second or the third wave, especially that third wave when at Christmas time restrictions were relaxed and the health situation got out of control very, very quickly. The health minister came out yesterday and admitted that they made mistakes at Christmas time. And as we can see here, Carolina Darias acknowledges that saving Christmas was a mistake and calls for responsibility for Easter week. The head of health once again warned against the advance of the fourth wave, and despite the normal weariness that society has, she has called for prudence among citizens. We are already seeing light at the end of the tunnel, she assured. So saving Christmas was a mistake, according to the health minister. So how many more mistakes do we have to make before we can get the health situation under control? And as we saw in that piece of text, society is very weary. Now, if you were living here in Spain and you were between the age of 70 and 80, you might be asking yourself why you haven't been called to be vaccinated. Well, the reason is, according to the newspaper El País, that you belong to the sandwich generation. As we can see here from this headline, Spain's sandwich vaccine generation, 70-year-olds are left to wait. Those born between 1942 and 1956 are waiting for the over 80s to finish, while the under 65 start, and are also waiting for public health to revise the immunisation plan. Injections to the general population between 55 and 65 years of age began with AstraZeneca last week in some communities and are starting this week in others, such as Madrid, while in parallel, inoculation with doses of messenger RNA from Pfizer and Moderna is progressing in those over 80 years of age. So a little bit longer to wait, it seems, unfortunately, for that sandwich vaccine generation here in Spain. Now, as we have seen in recent times, Spain's capital, Madrid, has become the binge-drinking capital of Europe, with thousands of foreign tourists coming to that city to enjoy the lax restrictions and open bars and restaurants. And the images of drunk tourists in Madrid stirs political debate again. For yet another weekend, the arrival of tourists in Madrid and the image of young people drinking in the streets has sparked political debate, with the left accusing Madrid's president, Isabel Díaz Ayuso, of turning Madrid into a destination for binge drinking during the pandemic. The capital's mayor, José Luis Martínez Almeida, claims, however, that French tourists did not come to Madrid to drink because of the looser restrictions, but because of the undeniable attraction of being the only major European capital that has practically all the cultural attractions open. So there we go. Now it's clear people are not coming to Madrid to drink, they're coming for all of the open cultural attractions, according to the mayor. And with political geniuses like that one, I think we're in pretty good hands here in Madrid. The tourism minister, Ms. Maroto, is also worried about the image that Madrid is giving to the rest of the world with this binge tourism. And in a radio interview on the national broadcaster, she has said that what is being seen in Madrid is not being seen in other tourist cities. What we are seeing in Madrid is not being seen in other tourist spots such as Barcelona or Seville, so the community of Madrid, which has encouraged these trips, must have some responsibility. So according to the tourism minister, Madrid is currently the only place here in Spain that has a binge drinking tourism problem, and former binge drinking hotspots Seville and Barcelona currently don't have an issue. Now, as we saw yesterday, Gibraltar is the only place on the Iberian Peninsula that has returned to some type of normal. And as we can see from this headline, Gibraltar makes a cautious start to new normality. With 70% of the population vaccinated, Gibraltarians no longer have a curfew and face masks are no longer mandatory outdoors, but restrictions and fears of COVID-19 remain. Only a few metres separate La Línea de la Concepción in Cádiz from Gibraltar. The fence that once represented an impassable wall has now become a symbol of hope for those on this side. Gibraltar, with a population of just over 33,700, is now the mirror in which to see what the new normal will be like when herd immunity is achieved in Spain. Already, 58,756 doses of the Pfizer vaccine have been inoculated in the ROC, and 27,662 people have been immunised. Among them are more than 2,300 cross-border workers, most of whom are Spanish. So, Gibraltar now the mirror, a place that we can look to get a glimpse of what new normality will look like. And I can just imagine it now, people peering through the fence to see what that new normality actually is. Now let's have a look at the health data here in Spain, starting with the vaccination campaign, and we'll try not to get too depressed after seeing what the situation is like in Gibraltar. We can see here that complete vaccination has been achieved on 5.5% of the population, or just over 2.6 million people, and 10.49% of the population have received at least one dose, which is just under 5 million people. Countrywide health data now, and we can see the total amount of cases. The accumulated incidence rate for the last 14 days, now up to 149. There have been 222 COVID-related deaths over the last 7 days. There are currently 8,076 people hospitalised around Spain with COVID, and there are currently 1,861 people in ICUs around the country. Now, Spain's hopes for foreign tourists to return to the country had a bit of a setback yesterday when the British tourism minister said that it's probably better that people holiday at home this year. As we can see here from this headline, the UK tourism minister urges people to plan their summer holidays in the UK. The British Minister for Tourism, Nigel Huddleston, on Monday encouraged people to plan their summer holidays in the UK, a statement that once again set off alarm bells over whether the government will extend the ban on travel outside the country to July and August, as a measure to prevent the entry of new variants of COVID-19 that could jeopardise the vaccination campaign, a measure that would undoubtedly affect Spain, the main holiday destination for the British. According to Huddleston, who stressed that caution is essential at this time, the government is analysing the options and a special group on travel is expected to make its recommendation known next week. Some more bad news for places here in Spain like Benidorm, the Costa del Sol and other tourist hotspots for British holidaymakers. And again, the call going out for people in the UK to plan a staycation rather than a foreign getaway. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Paul. Unfortunately, with the increased cost of flights as companies try to recoup some money, added to the $155 cost of a private PCR test in my area, added to the UK government restrictions, a break in Spain is expensive. It is time all European as opposed to EU governments decided between wealth or health. As for the UK restrictions, the number of exemptions should, with a little thought and the use of the internet, allow many to travel. Yeah, Paul, thanks for the comment, and as you pointed out, some more reasons why people may choose not to come to Spain this year. It is more expensive. Flights, PCR test, and the like. We saw a couple of minutes ago that the UK tourism minister is encouraging people to stay at home this year, have a staycation, not to come to places like Spain because of that health risk. So it's going to be interesting to see how many people heed his advice. Are you going to stay at home or are you going to travel to a European destination? Let's have a bit of a mini poll. Let us know in the comment section what you intend to do. Spain, another European country, or one of those fantastic British seaside resorts that you have in the UK. Let us know. One here from Becky. My sister lives in Mallorca and she says it's awful how nobody has had the vaccine in Mallorca, yet all Germans are there for holidays when another wave has been announced. Yeah, Becky, thanks for the comment. Another one of the many inconsistencies that we have had since this pandemic began. The Balearic Islands, one of the places here in Spain that has the lowest rate of vaccination so far, yet Germans are coming in their thousands to spend the Easter week there. And you're right, another wave has been announced. It has been announced in France, it's been announced in Germany, and it is now being announced in Spain. But as I said before, one of the many inconsistencies that we have had over the last 12 months or so, and I'm sure there's going to be more. One here from M. Belton. 3 months into the vaccination campaign and 10% given one dose. 3 months more till summer. How do they think they are going to vaccinate 70%? Pure delusion. Yeah, and thanks for the comment. We saw yesterday the Deputy European Commissioner come out and reaffirm those words that 70% of the European population will be vaccinated by July the 14th. Don't know why he chose that date. Here in Spain, they're saying at the end of summer, sometime in September, I imagine, but he was very clear with his words yesterday, the 14th of July. Is he delusional? Well, if you look at current figures, you would think that yes, he is. But politicians also here are saying every day that we're going to reach those targets because we're waiting for a lot of vaccines to arrive or be produced in the European Union, something that hasn't happened up until now, hence the low rate of only 10%. So we'll wait and see if European politicians are correct with what they are saying or whether they will be forced to eat their words. I don't know. What do you think? One here from Baby Tails. Hi Stuart, what's your updates for up-to-date information on Spain real time? Thank you for your daily updates. Being a landlocked Brit, I am waiting patiently to return to Spain safely, but after spending my last 10 Christmas holidays up in Spain, 2020 was spent at home in Scotland. I honestly feel it will be 2022 before this wee family unit of 3 returns. Stay safe everyone, and adios amigos. Yeah, Baby Tails, thanks for the comment and thanks for being a regular watcher of the videos. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people like you, landlocked somewhere in the UK, not able to get down to Spain, even though you have been doing it on a regular basis over the last 10 years or so. 2022 seems a long way off, but it seems more than likely that that is going to be the case before safe travel, at least, is allowed down to Spain again. And with all of the restrictions in place, new waves of the coronavirus, and the slow vaccination campaign, time is running out for 2021. A good idea maybe would be to head to Gibraltar. That might be the only place where you can get a holiday in the sun. One here from Stephen. Many more people with Gibraltar passports live in Spain. My daughter lives in La Alcaidesa. Her and her husband have Gibraltar passports and have been vaccinated twice already. Many of their friends that live nearby who also have Gibraltar passports have been vaccinated. She works with Spanish people in Gibraltar who have also received the vaccine in Gibraltar, although they live in Spain and cross the border to work. Yes, Stephen, thanks for the comment, and it does seem to be the situation down there in Gibraltar. As you mentioned, your daughter and her husband have been vaccinated, all of their friends as well, and a lot of the cross-border workers. We saw in the news earlier that something like 70% of the population have been vaccinated. Yesterday they said 80, so a bit of a difference there, but somewhere between 70 and 80% of the population, I imagine, have been vaccinated, while here in Spain, we're currently at 10%. So let's see if life does truly get back to normal in that part of the world. Finally, one here from Jonathan. During my first week of teaching in Uruguay this year, all my students wanted to know the best way to translate estoy harto de in English. Everyone wanted to know how to say that we're sick and tired of something. Sign of the times, even though at the time Uruguay didn't have it so bad. Yeah, Jonathan, thanks for the comment and thanks for pointing out that Spanish expression. I haven't looked at one of those for a while. Estoy harto de. I am fed up with something, or I am sick and tired of the current situation, and that's what's happening at the moment. A lot of the population, as we know, is sick and tired of the situation. We saw the health minister say before that that was the situation, but people need to be prudent, we need to be strong, we need to continue to keep our guard up, and hopefully we can get through this health situation. But as you mentioned, a lot of people están hartos de la situación. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.